A farmer named Ado and his lovely wife Iki lived in a cocoa village once. They had been married for 5 years, and their love was so strong that they prayed for a child every day, hoping that their fields would resound with the laughter of little feet. Finally, after 5 years, Aki became pregnant, and the anticipation increased with each day until the day finally came, when their long-awaited bundle of joy entered the world, tears of joy streaming down their cheeks. Ado and Eki welcomed their daughter into their arms. She was a vision of beauty, and her small features were a reflection of their love and devotion. They named her Uki, a name that spoke of hope and blessings, because she was truly a gift from the heavens above. From the moment she opened her eyes, Uki brought light and laughter into their home, and word of the arrival of the UK spread like wildfire throughout the village. Soon after, she became the darling of Ioko, and the villagers awed at her beauty and radiant smile, captivating hearts everywhere she went. Even the king and his wives were enchanted by her charm, her with gifts and affection whenever she graced the palace with her presence. As Uki grew, so did her reputation as a beacon of love and happiness in the village, touching the lives of everyone she came into contact. With her kindness and generosity, Ado's family started pressuring him to take a second wife because they were worried that they wouldn't have a child to carry on the family name. At first, Ado steadfastly refused, stating his undying love for Eki and his commitment to increased, eased, tedded, to think about taking a second wife because he felt it was essential to securing the family's future. Eventually, Ado gave in to his family's wishes and agreed to marry again in search of a male. When Air and his family traveled to the nearby village, they discovered a young woman named Ah who had been picked for her beauty and what they thought was a kind heart. Little did they realize that Ah's beauty teacher had jealousy ususi malice. As time passed, Ada's presence brought tension and discord into Ado's household, and her jealousy of Iki and Uki only grew, poisoning the once lovely atmosphere of their home. Ado started to regret his decision, realizing too late that he had made a mistake in giving in to his family's pressure despite Ado's best efforts. Ada's true nature became apparent the moment she entered Ado's home. She resented Aki and Uki, seeing them as barriers to her own desires despite her outward charm. Efforts to foster peace between his first wife Eki and his second wife Ada. Ada's heart remained consumed by jealousy. She resented Eki and her daughter Uki for the love they received from both the villagers and Ado. Ada's bitterness only deepened when she discovered she was pregnant. 3 months later, filled with a newfound sense of entitlement, Ada's attitude towards Iki grew even worse. She began to boast to Iki, taunting her with the prospect of giving birth to a son who would inherit everything and surpass Uki. Her words stung Iki deeply, but she remained resilient, refusing to let Ada's cruelty break her spirit. Two remained steadfast in her love for Ado, and Yuki finding strength in their bone, she prayed for the day when harmony would return to their household, holding on to hope, even in the face of Ada's males. Months passed, and Ah gave birth to her dismay. It was another girl. Her disappointment was palpable, especially after all the torment she had inflicted on Yeki and Uki about giving birth to a son. The realization that she had failed to fulfill her own expectations weighed heavily on his heart, seeing Ad's distress. Ado couldn't help but feel regret for his decision to marry a second wife. He realized the pain and suffering it had caused not only to Iki and Uki, but also to himself and Ada. With a heavy heart, Ado approached Iki humbly, asking for her forgiveness, filled with remorse. Ado confessed his mistake, acknowledging that it was ignorance that led him to accept marrying a second wife. He pleaded with Ayeki to forgive him, promising to make amends and restore harmony to their home. As they embraced their newfound unity, the wounds of the past started to heal, paving the way for a brighter tomorrow, filled with love, forgiveness, and reconciliation. One sunny day, Uki, now an adult, and her half-sister Amen, whose mother Ah was notorious for her jealousy, went to the river to fetch water and swim. Uki was moved by Adson's sincerity, and she embraced him, her heart softened by his apology. Together, Ado and Iki vowed to put the past behind them and work towards rebuilding their family. As they were making their way home, they came upon two elderly men standing next to a broken-down automobile. The guys, who were strangers from another village, said that their car had broken down and they needed water to cool the engine. Uki liked swimming, and the calm waters of the river always made her happy. With a generous heart, Uki offered to help right away, and went to get water from the Armenians and Sensinianserman Iansans, who were swayed by her mother's envy, objected and refused to assist the visitors despite Armand's objections. Uki kept helping the old folks by getting them water and giving it to them. Despite Amon's protests, the elderly Miofwirov Tofen, Ofakov and Ofo Fisiatiov of the UK's generosity, because they had encountered mistrust and resistance from others when they sought assistance. They thanked Uki and were ready to depart. Uki was excited and looking forward to becoming a princess and marrying the prince, but she was also burdened by her mother's jealousy and sadness, feeling a pang of jealousy and sadness that she couldn't get rid of the feeling of sister, sister, tear, who seemed to effortlessly attract admiration and opportunities. The elderly men revealed the true reason for their visit. They were emissaries from their village looking for a bride for their crown prince. They were impressed by the UK's compassion and saw her as a perfect match for their prince. While Amon's heart was heavy with regret and jealousy, Uki was filled with hope. Despite their differing feelings, they headed home, each lost in their own thoughts, unsure of what the future held for them. When Uki returned home and told her parents the good news, they couldn't contain their joy because they were proud to have raised a daughter of such kindness and decency. However, even though they pretended to be happy, Ada's rage boiled over as she reprimanded Armand for not helping the strangers. Their frustration and envy fueled a sinister plan that would permanently change the UK's course. According to custom, when the elders came 2 weeks later to pay Uki's bride price, they were not permitted to see her face or get close to her until they were at the palace. As Uki got ready to leave for her new life as a bride, her the UK seats the UK's case sister Odbai sister Salmon N UK sister Amon Elf Salmon Amon was given the responsibility of walking her to her husband's village in the next village. A personal maid was also assigned to accompany her on this journey. They promised, with tears in their eyes, to visit the palace the following year in order to see their beloved daughter and celebrate her happiness. However, the bride's parents were prohibited from seeing her for a year after her marriage due to the prince's tradition, and despite their heartbreak at the prospect of being parted from their daughter Ado and Eki, they remained unwavering in the Tili. Lai, Tili. K-Tili, Tili. Knowing that they would carry her in their hearts until they were rounded with a heavy heart, they whispered encouraging and kind words. Amen and Uki's personal maid joined her as they started down the route, leading to the prince's village. Uki's sense of unease persisted as she realized that her life was, as they neared a vast, menacing river that was known for its diabolical nature and the tale that anyone who ventured to swim in it would be changed into a fish. She had no idea that the obstacles that were ahead would test her fortitude and resilience. In order to increase her beauty and allure for her Prince Charming, Amon suggested a cunning plan to her sister Uki. However, Uki knew the risks of the river and refused to go in. Frustrate, jealous Simon's jealousy lussy boy over, and she pushed Uki into the river. In an instant, Uki was transformed into a magnificent and majestic fish, her once human form lost to the depths of the river. The maid who was with them could only watch in horror as her cries for assistance went unanswered, seizing the opportunity. When they arrived at the king and queen's palace, Aman, ruthlessly dressed in UK royal regalia, forewarned the maid not to speak of what had happened, out of fear for her own life. The maid complied with her heart heaving with grief and remorse. Prince villagers and elders rejoiced at the sight of the beautiful princess, unaware of the dark secret that lurked beneath the surface. A grand feast was organized to celebrate the arrival of their beloved princess. Uki, with music, dancing, and laughter filling the air unknowingly to them all their joyous celebration, masked the sinister truth that their beloved princess had been transformed into a fish by the wicked hand of her own sister, Amen. And as the festivities continued late into the night. The river whispered its secrets, carrying the lost soul of Princess Uki far away from the world she once knew. Every evening, under the cover of darkness, the maid would stealthily slip out of the palace. With extra food she had procured from the palace kitchen, she made her way to the river where she would sing a haunting melody, calling out to the depths below, and like clockwork, Uki, now a magnificent fish, would emerge from the river, her tail wagging in anticipation of the meal the maid had brought. This routine continued for a month with the maid, faithfully feeding Uki and valuing their private conversations. She had no idea that her actions were not unnoticed. The prince, fascinated by the maid's enigmatic adventures, decided to follow her one evening in an attempt to learn the truth. To his surprise, he saw the maid performing a ritual at the riverbank and saw the majestic fish emerge from the depths. Shocked and perplexed, he rushed back to the palace and called his parents and the village elders for a secret meeting gathering in the king's chamber. The maid was brought before them, trembling with fear at the thought of disclosing the truth. But she courageously described what had happened, revealing Ammon's trickery and the fish's true identity as the real Princess Uki, comforted by the prince's vows of safety. The revelation that they had been duped by Ammon's crafty plan astounded the prince and his parents. When the village priest was called to address the deception that had befallen the kingdom, the prince recalled his suspicions about Ammon's behavior, noting her arrogance and mistreatment of others. He realized that the woman he had been living with was not the bride his elders had praised to him. A plan was devised to expose Ammon's treachery once and for all, and May was instructed to sing her haunting melody by the riverbank while the villagers and the prince hid in the bushes, waiting for UK to appear. As expected, Uki emerged from the depths of the river. Her majestic presence captivated everyone who saw her. Before anyone could react, 10 skilled fishermen appeared and cast their nets, capturing Uki in a single swift motion. The villagers cheered, and even the prince couldn't hide his satisfaction at finally catching the source of the deception. After being brought to the native doctor's shrine, where ancient rituals were performed to purge her of the enchantment that had turned her into a fish, Uki endured the sacred rites for 7 days until she finally emerged from the depths of the cooking pot as the beautiful and elegant bride she once was. The news of the UK's miraculous transformation spread like wildfire throughout the kingdom, igniting a wave of joy among her parents, the villagers, the prince, the elders, and the king and queen. Amid the festivities, justice was promptly served. Aemon and her mother were exiled to the evil forest for their heinous deed. Aemon's betrayal was revealed, and justice was restored. The maid who had stuck by Uki through her ordeal was rewarded for her bravery and loyalty. The prince's younger brother, moved by her unwavering devotion, married her, and the two of them set out on a new journey full of love and happiness. Thus, in the village of Aoko, where stories of bravery and triumph reverberated, Uki and her Prince Charming were free to live in blissful harmony, surrounded by the love and support of their people. For all of our viewers, Uki and her prince served as representations of hope and tenacity throughout the ages, demonstrating that genuine love and bravery could triumph over even the most difficult obstacles. For more interesting tales like this one, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Your support is greatly appreciated and enables us to provide you with even more amazing content. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more thrilling stories to come.